Welcome to episode 4 of the DraftKings Life Podcast. I'm Jason Jones. I'm your senior recruitment marketing specialist.
And I'm Meg, talent acquisition associate. What is up, Jonesy? How are we?
Not much, Meg. We're doing well. It's a nice sunny day in Boston. This is actually Patriots Day weekend. So for those not native to New England, pretty much the city shuts down. We get runners from all over the world who usually flock to Boston to run the Boston Marathon. But because of COVID-19, that is postponed until September 14th. So it will be a quiet weekend, which will be a little different. For us here. How's everything in upstate New York?
Pretty chill. I can't believe we're finishing up or starting a new week, I guess. So I'm just excited to introduce our guest this week.
Yes. So we are excited to have Caro Garcia, who's from our product team here at DraftKings. So thank you for joining us. Would you mind giving a little brief intro?
Yes. Thanks for having me, guys. My name is Caro Garcia. I am a product owner at DraftKings. Actually on the delivery management side that reports up to engineering, so not product.
Thank you.
A little misconception that I'm sure we'll get into in a little bit.
There we go. Set the record straight.
Yep. We'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah. But product owner here at DraftKings.
Welcome, Caro. So happy to have you here. Today we'll be running through some questions to get to know more about you and your DraftKings experience. So let's start by just going through what a day in the life is like for you here normally.
I don't think any PO at DraftKings has a normal day in the life. I don't think that exists. We're the liaison between technology and product and the multiple stakeholders in our company, like CRM, growth marketing, compliance, a lot more, product strategy. So there is no normal day in the life, black and white. This is what I come out and do. But I think it's a mix between working with the development teams, working with the stakeholders, making sure we get the company objectives in line, and really getting those delivered and across the line.
Awesome.
So what?
And then while you've been working at home, sorry, Jonesy, to interrupt you, but while you've been working at home, like how has it been for you, I guess, communicating with everybody and still working to get your job done? That's
a good question because the product owners are always, we're hands-on working with the development teams, as well communicating with, some of the stakeholders would say, I'll walk over, and talk with so-and-so in legal, make sure this is the request coming in. Or I think DraftKings has made it so seamless, the transition into work from home. Like, we all have our monitors. They're able to, drop them off. We have our docs. I find it, I think just as much like my life from home and my work life is very similar. It's not, or even I think the same as it's in the office. So it hasn't been affected. Yeah. And it's been pretty smooth.
That's good.
Nice.
So what drew to DraftKings, especially leaving sunny Miami for Boston that's warm about 4 months out of the year? And it's funny because Caro and I are on Zoom video, so I can see that your Zoom background is of sunny Miami.
Yeah. So I am from Miami, Florida, moved up. I think it's going to be a year now, just shy of a year. And I think what really drew me is the tech industry and the tech hub in Boston. They call Boston the Silicon Valley of the East. And I was already in tech industry in Miami, and South Florida is known for their cruise lines, hospitality, and that's, not as hot and exciting as a company like DraftKings. And as many others here in the Boston area. So I moved up and just sort of took a leap of faith. And there's so many amazing companies. There's also networking, so many, different hubs. So I think it's great what Boston offers.
Yeah. How long have you been at DraftKings?
It's going to be a year in June.
Nice. That's my 2 year.
Nice.
That's awesome. Well, and given that DraftKings is a technology company in sports, you left the Miami Heat and for the championship Boston
Oh
Celtics.
my
So
God.
actually shows good
No,
judgment. Good judge. I like it.
no, I'm always a Heat fan,
I'm
even if like they say, you can take someone out of Miami, but you're never going to take the Miami out of me.
yeah. I'm messing. So what's something that stood out to you when you did join DraftKings? And along those lines, what also surprised you?
So something that stood out for me, I think this is when I specifically like joined DraftKings, already working.
Yeah.
So how approachable everyone is. Like you think sports company, tech, everyone already knows everything about sports. And I came in thinking, everyone here is just like a wizard of every single sports stats. And it's amazing that even directors are able to like just get into a huddle room and anyone can just come up and say, hey, how can I help? What is this? And very, very approachable. Everyone's super nice. They want you to learn. They want you to grow. So everyone's just looking out for the best for you. And then, yeah.
Nice. That's good. Good answer.
So a common misconception, I think, product owners versus product managers, are they the same thing? And can you kind of just describe, I guess, maybe the difference for us?
Yeah, so that is a very common misconception. They are not the same thing.
Okay.
So that's one thing that we should make clear here. But the second is, so it varies industry to industry and it varies company to company. But I think high level, or I can even speak for DraftKings, a product manager focuses on the company's objectives, the market. They study the market, they know what's happening. They also set out to strategically focus on the product's vision at the end of the day, where the product owner works with the developers, with if it's either a development team or any sort of other team, actually. But here at DraftKings, it's a software company, we work with developers to really make sure the product manager's strategy gets put into tasks and gets delivered at the end of the day. Basically, the product owners the difference between the product owners and the product managers are the product owners own what those requirements are from the product vision and making sure we get those across the line with the teams.
Awesome. No,
Okay.
Thank you.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's super helpful. And I guess speaking of the different teams that you work with on a day-to-day basis, how do you collaborate with them and work together, I guess?
So we meet every single day. So every day we have something that's called the daily stand-up meeting. And that's just, I'm not sure if other teams do this, but specifically first thing in the morning, we go over what did they do yesterday? What are they planning on doing today? And if they have any impediments and any blockers. The product owners specifically unblock the developers on those impediments. So if that means there's still, some assets needed from design, there's still some language missing from compliance needed, right, for some error messaging. So it all varies. So going back, I think, to the original question, what's a typical day in the life of a PO? I think it varies depending on the work we're doing, and what the team's taking on.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah, we do stand up similarly, mostly like on Mondays or midweek or at the end of the week. So I definitely get where you're coming from. I think it's super helpful being able to just stay on track and know what's coming down the pipeline, keeps everybody in line.
Totally.
So what DraftKings product has been your favorite to launch so far in your career here? And then taking a step back, what are the steps to take that idea from, what steps does it take to go from idea to concept?
I'm going to answer the first question, and I think the second question, we might have to go over that one again because I'm going to probably forget.
Yeah, no problem.
So the first one, my favorite product that we shipped was the App Lobby 2.0. So we completely redid the native apps on the daily fantasy sports app, the lobby. So not sure for everyone who's familiar with the DFS app, it was a little bit aged. You'd go into the lobby and it sort of looked more of like a gamer site. It wasn't as clean, and I think this project was one that worked really, really well with design. Design came up with some incredible flows, incredible design on the contest cell specifically. The night mode looked incredible, and I think it was just a lot easier on the eyes. Anyone coming to the app for the first time sees sort of these harsh boxes, all these contest cells. We want all the users, we want users to enter into these contests and, sort of re-skinning or retransforming the lobby entirely on the apps is something that I think it was really rewarding, and it was really nice to see.
Nice.
And we had a couple nice little tweaks. I can keep going. There was we added this little info key, which is pretty sweet. So people coming into that for the first time, they would tap the icon, the info icon, and they can understand, all right, what's a guaranteed contest, what's the tickets versus crowns and all that, which before, on the website it'd be a lot easier to manage, but on the apps you can sort of navigate that really, really nice. So
that's super cool.
And you had said the term DFS. What does that stand for our listeners who haven't used our app?
No, do not worry. When I first started, I was like, DSF. It stands for Daily Fantasy Sports.
Awesome, thank you. And so that was a great description. And so given that launch, what were the steps behind all that to take that from an idea to an actual execution?
So I think there was to take a couple steps back, there's a lot to get that, even from ideation all the way out to production. The POs are the POs are in charge of making sure we run that all through the software development lifecycle, which is from the beginning all the way to the end. And I had just started at DraftKings right when that was coming out of the hands of the product manager into the dev team, but I still got, a little, I was still able to get caught up with the project as I started. I think how it all worked out from the beginning and the success of this project was really the product manager designing this hand in hand with one of our lead designers. They got in a room and sort of you start whiteboarding this. So that's sort of the how this is born, right? Most of our product managers vary. So like what I said before, product managers vary industry to industry. At DraftKings, they do come from sort of analytics roles. So a lot of numbers were, first came to place, and they're like, all right, as a first-time user, you're going into the lobby. They were able to put some numbers together and see how could we make this experience better? What is this redesign? What's the return on investment here? Working with UX and getting some really nice, and at this point I wasn't at DraftKings. I had just started, and then we sort of, from there, after that sort of solidified, then the POs take a look at it, look at the requirements, and pass it on to the development team. So at that point, that's when the POs make sure we get all those into actionable tasks, right? And act on them iteratively, if that makes sense. Yep. So we set up demos, and we make sure we're getting constant feedback, and that feedback then gets, invested back, and we can act on it as soon as possible in a 2-week cycle. So I think overall it's a lot of work from many different parties, but in this case, with this project specifically, it was really working with UX and product.
So it's truly collaborative effort by a lot of teams.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So pivoting a little bit here, I'd love to get your personal take on what it has been like for you being a woman in tech at DraftKings, and what kinds of things stand out to you?
Being a woman in tech at DraftKings has made me grow a lot as, I know this might sound corny, as a woman, but as also a professional. I think, yeah, DraftKings is a company that, already being a woman in tech is a buzz question. It's a hard one to answer. It's not easy, and it varies, right? Between women and women, but I think at DraftKings even more, because we're just known as one of the hottest, right, leading companies in the sports industry.
Like sports tech.
For sure. So since I started, there hasn't been a moment where I've ever felt like discouraged. I think the women here and everyone, also the men, like they only want the best for you. I think it's inevitable that in tech, women are the minority. But at the end of the day, I think you just have to, if you want something, you just have to go for it. And if that's, if you have a goal and you want to achieve it, I think it's reachable. So, and I think this is a company that really helps you strive in that.
So how would you describe your experience in our DraftKings headquarters?
The headquarters are awesome. They're, you don't feel like you're walking into like uptight headquarters at all, right? You're, where it's also not laid back. So I don't know if that makes sense in a way.
It does to me, but
how I feel it is I go in and it's something like you feel in the air also. Everyone's goes there and you feel everyone's working hard to play hard, like,
game
there's
time.
No sort of,
it's game time when you walk in.
It's game time. It's game time. There's no sort of like, you don't feel uncomfortable. You don't feel uptight at all. Obviously it's, the atmosphere is beautiful. Like the couches are great. The kitchen's awesome, modern, right?
Yeah.
But I think the actual environment is something that you can't really put words to, and you just feel when you walk in. And it's something that's like everyone's a game player and a team player when you walk in.
Agreed. That's cool.
That's a great answer. I miss it.
Me too.
I know.
Awesome. All right. So last question of this round, then we'll move on. But what's one piece of advice you have for a candidate who's looking to join DraftKings?
One piece of advice I would give is be yourself and don't be afraid to ever speak up. I think every single person that I've come across at DraftKings speaks, if they think of something and if they feel very strong about something, they say it in the moment, and that's something you should never hold. And that's only going to help you better working with so many teams. DraftKings is a very big company, and I'm sure anyone who walks in is going to work amongst many, many different cross teams. So just be confident and be yourself, and it's only going to help you in the long run.
Very nice.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the 2-minute drill section of the podcast, where we are going to ask you lightning round questions about what makes you Caro. So Jones, do you want to start the timer?
We are starting now.
Great. Where are you from? I guess we already answered this, but go for it.
305, Miami.
Nice.
Love.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Catholic University in Washington, D.C.
Nice. Favorite mobile app?
obviously like the obvious ones are like Instagram, right, and Twitter, but I love the Chipotle app. When I don't really use it a lot, but when I do use it, I love it.
Awesome.
Great. Biggest irrational fear?
Oh God, I hate snakes.
Same.
I cannot.
Can't trust them.
I can't. No.
I don't trust anything that slithers.
No.
Favorite thing about the Boston office?
There's so much, but I think right now the kombucha on draft.
Facts.
That's what
good.
I want.
Are you watching anything on streaming services right now, and what is it?
Yes, I just finished Money Heist season 4.
I heard that's good.
Yeah, I'm also half Spanish, half Mexican, so it's a Spanish show, but it is in English. I mean, they do translate in English. So you guys should watch it. It's amazing.
All right, thank you. I'll add to the queue. About 30 seconds left. Do you like surprises?
I do.
Really? Oh, I hate surprises.
Weirdly,
I hate it.
I know.
Just tell me.
My family.
I love them.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh my God. I can't think of any right now other than people chewing with their mouth open.
That's
I don't
fair.
like that one.
Yeah.
What was your dream job when you were little?
7 seconds.
Probably like being a fashion designer in Paris.
Really saying.
Oh, that's time. Wow, that's close. Well done.
Great. Good work. Those are tough. I know they come up on you, sneak up on you. But thank you so much for joining us today. You were a great sport running through everything. It was so cool to hear about your team, and I feel like I learned a lot. I will not make the product owner versus product manager mistake ever again.
Same.
Thank you so much, guys. This is awesome.
And we're going to close out the podcast by asking you, Caro, what's a motto or mantra that you live by every day?
The only one I can think of right now is the one that my team also lives by, which is get shit done.
GSD.
GSD.
Love it.
Yep.
Caro, thank you so much for joining us today on the DraftKings Life Podcast. And thank you to everyone out there for listening to us. Make sure to follow us on our socials at DraftKings Life and tune in next time. Remember, be safe, be kind, and take care.